What's up, guys? This is the Full Stack Bro. In today's video, I'm just going to talk to you guys about why is it so hard to code. Now, just like with anything in life, when you start something that you have no experience with, it's going to be difficult, right? You're not going to be good on the first day. And if you have that mindset, you're just going to fail. So one of the reasons why it's hard to code or even get started is because of maybe your lack of understanding of what you want to do. Could be a lot of things, right? So first and foremost, when you first start off, you might be making some progress. You might be learning, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and you're getting into that, but then you just give up. The reason why you are giving up is because it's way too hard. You shouldn't have that mindset, right? You have to fail doing this. There's no easy way to get better. So if you're just starting out and you've been learning for like a week or two, and then you're trying to make updates to like a project that you worked on, it's not that you're not smart enough to do it, it's just that you are not challenging yourself and putting in the work. You can't stress that enough. If you're not going to put in the work, then obviously coding is not going to be for you. But I just want to tell you guys, like, it's not going to be an easy road, especially if you're dealing with front end aspect of things. I would say HTML, CSS are very easy to learn. JavaScript is difficult, right? Especially if you're learning vanilla JavaScript. Now, there are other frameworks out there like React.js that allows you to build out components pretty easily, but you still have to have some basic understanding of what JavaScript is and how to use it. You're gonna run into those issues. You're gonna be coding and it could be something that's very, very difficult. I mean, you have AI tools now that could give you the answer pretty easily, but even if by using AI, if you're not asking the right questions, then it's gonna be very, very hard for you to grasp the concepts and have the repetition in your head to when like you're dealing with, writing out code, it just comes easier to you. I've had so many times where like I wrote something and it was difficult, and I've been there, done that, finished with the project, and then I go back into it like months later and then realize I could refactor this entire thing. And when you have a job in tech, it's gonna be easier for you to get better because there's always gonna be something to do. But to be honest with you, when you are self-taught developer, or if you're going through a coding boot camp, you can get to that level, but you have to put in the work. Another is that you focus on too many things at once. If you want to focus on all these different languages at once, you're gonna fail in some of these categories. So I'm a beginner and I'm looking at like the full stack, right? I look at YouTube videos, I'm doing research in terms of like what I want to do. I personally think that you should focus on the front end portion first. Then once you have the key concepts down, understand the back end, just dealing with APIs, dealing with post requests, right? Databases, all focusing on both of those at the same time, I'm gonna run into problems. So if it's the front end that you really enjoy, focus on the front end. Focus on understanding HTML. How to build a web page out. Understand those key concepts, then jump into CSS to make it look pretty. Once you got a web page going on, enhancing your web page with JavaScript. So that's really gonna help you in the future. Like just focusing on one thing is gonna prepare you further as opposed to focusing on too many things. If you putting in the time is very, very important. Like just because you did I want to start coding now, and then you jump in and you do all the research and you go to YouTube and you look at this tutorial, and then you're just following what that person is doing, and you think, okay, cool, like I wrote out an app or I wrote out a web page, I think I know what I'm doing. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're learning anything, right? You have to put in the work. You have to find time to learn. You cannot just sit there and think like, if I do it one day, then another day, and kind of like have these gaps in between when you're learning that you're gonna retain all that information. A lot of coding is just repetition and understanding key concepts. If you don't, then you're gonna have a tough time because you didn't spend time putting in the work in that one particular area, right? Like you're jumping from one place to another, oh, this Ruby on Rails looks good, I'm gonna jump into that. Oh, Python, I love Python. PHP, great, I'm gonna do that too. Nah, man, you gotta focus on just one thing. That's how people quit. People quit because it's way too big of a canvas, right? They see the big picture and they try to do the bigger things, but they're not taking the small steps to get there. If you want to really get good at programming, 1 to 2 years minimum. You find a job in 6 months, great. If it's an entry-level job, great, because that's going to help you. But, you know, to become better at this, you have to put in the work. I feel like, you know, the reason why I jumped into the tech space was because of, you know, my love for technology, my love for social media websites like MySpace, Facebook. I was like, oh, I want to build something like that, right? And the only way I got experience with that was, you know, doing projects in high school and then getting a job. Don't just jump into tech because everybody else is doing it. You have to have the passion to do this. Another reason too is tutorial hell. Tutorial hell is this: if you're going on YouTube, you're looking at, there's a video on how to create a particular app. If you wanted to do a countdown app or to-do list, someone on YouTube created the roadmap for it and how to build it, and you could add this to your portfolio. I'm not saying don't do them, but don't get into a back and forth of doing every single tutorial. It's not going to work. You have to understand how to explain your code, and even if once you do the tutorial, do something else. Think outside the box. Build something new to enhance that project. They do the bare minimum on some of these tutorials. Like whenever you want to clone like Netflix, Amazon, Spotify, Hulu. I'm not saying that they're bad projects to do, but everybody has done them already, right? Like everybody has done a freaking clone already. Try to figure out ways to make it better. Maybe there's no login system, right? Figure out how to create a login system. Once you authenticate to your app, you get a completely different web page, or like the home page, and then you could kind of, you know, create different pages to show depending on like what kind of user role and all that stuff. That's the reason why coding is so hard. And you know, that's it for this video. So like, share, subscribe. Appreciate you guys checking in, and until next time.